I just beat Avernus right now!
On September 10th, 2023, Zoink would verify Tidal Wave, a solo top 1 demon built by Onilink GD. It is as of December 17th, 2023, the legitimately hardest verified level in Geometry Dash. And with Zoink's ability to just snipe extreme demons like they're nothing, this imposes a question: what is the hardest level Zoink could possibly ever do? In this video, we're going to go over a few examples of levels that could possibly be the limit of Zoink's skill, or possibly anyone who's cracked enough to surpass Zoink himself. But a reminder before we get into this video, I would like to say a few things. This video is purely speculative and is not an objective view on Zoink's skill. And this video was inspired by FNM04's video, 5 Demons Zoink is Scared Of. I might be using a few examples from his video, but before I show examples of what levels I think Zoink could possibly be before 2.2, or ever, we have to look at N-Swish. N-Swish was by far the greatest Geometry Dash player in his time, verifying levels like the Golden, Cognition, Eternal Moment, Kappa, Rage, and Base Cave. He had slowly stopped playing the game around 2022, and his channel disappeared around September of 2023. The reason I bring this up is because of N-Swish's phenomenal skill in Geometry Dash. He was seen as the limit of Geometry Dash difficulty, and as we can see just 2 years later, we have an explosion in difficulty. Tartarus is top 30, Firework is almost out of the top 10, Zodiac is top 45, and Sonic Wave is out of the demon list entirely. No one could have possibly guessed that difficulty would be this extreme just a mere 2 years later. What I'm trying to get at is that there are 2 possible results that we can see in the future of Geometry Dash difficulty. 1, we're either going to see an even harder Geometry Dash future, or 2, Zoink will forever be the greatest player of all time. Well, with that being said, let's get into our examples of what I think is either going to be the hardest level of all time, or the next hardest demon. These levels aren't in specific order, let's just get into the video. For our first example, we have the most likely, in my opinion, to be verified by Zoink, Vehemence by TBT. This level is a top 1 open verification that had progress on it by a player named Radium, but was dropped due to hand injuries. This level has a runner-up next top 1 energy with it. The level's theme is based upon Terraria Calamity mod, and in my honest opinion, I think that the level does the theming very well. The difficulty of this level is what brings it out though. But before dropping the level, Radium had dropped around 250,000 attempts on the level alone, and was able to get a staggering 62 to 100 run. I admire Radium's sheer determination to beat a level, especially with a level of this brutal nature. However, we've seen Zoink beat the odds. We've seen Zoink verify Tidal Wave within 50,000 attempts. If I were to make an estimate about the level, Zoink would probably take around 100,000 to 70,000 attempts on this level. Again, this is pure speculation and not an objective view on about how good Zoink actually is. With that being said, let's go to our next level. My next example is Flame Wall by Narwhal, a 7.5 minute long extreme demon. According to the verifier on Alpha Helix, the level is harder than Acheron and Tidal Wave. The level is honestly very fun and sync heavy, so most of the time you're really clicking to the beat. However, this level is a monster when it comes to difficulty, and the length of the level alone just tells you how hard this level could possibly be. But this is Zoink we're talking about, a player who already verified a 3-minute extreme demon. So I feel like this level wouldn't necessarily be a walk in the park for Zoink, but more of a mere challenge. So if I were to make an estimate for Zoink's attempt count, this would be around 60 to 80,000 attempts. So with Flame Wall out of the way, we can make to our next example. And our next example is Amethyst by Mist. This level is a protagonist to the Golden in a similar way Avernus is to the Golden. Zoink had already verified Avernus, so this feels like the perfect level for Zoink to verify in the near future. The theme of the level is, of course, Amethyst Cavern themed, and just like Flame Wall, it is similarly sync based and momentum heavy. Not really much I can say for the level aside from the theming of the level in that it looks f***ing divine, and honestly does a good job of the cavern theme, and I think Mist did a very good job on this level, and I think Mist could have literally done nothing as a host to make the level better. It's perfect in its own way. But that's enough glazing, let's actually do speculation on how Zoink could verify this level. In my honest opinion, I would think Zoink would have to have 80,000 to 100,000 attempts on the level, just simply due to how brutal this level really is. The timings are crazy, the wave is stupid difficult, and then it pulls in Avernus, with a wave after the first wave. Good luck to anyone willing to verify this level, and let's move on. This next level deserves no introduction, everyone knows what this level is. This level is Eternal Night by Electro. Oh god, here we go. Like I said, level needs no introduction, top 1 level. Helix did a run from 0 to 24 and is still the hardest run from 0 on this level to this day. But this is not the only run on the level, with Cursed himself doing runs from 63 to 95, 76 to 100, and 51 to 75. Now, would Zoink be able to verify this level? Same question I asked for Through the Gates, and Zoink was able to pull through and be the first victor of Through the Gates. So I'm really confident with around 150,000 attempts, Zoink could definitely beat Eternal Night. Well, with this level being out the way, let's get to our next entry. Our next entry is Eternus, or Eternal. Diamond already has 6% on the level. This level is so brutal that 6% is considered a world record. This level is the third level of the Riot trilogy, more of like the third story than a sequel to Acheron. This level is like Acheron on steroids. If I were to give an estimate on how many attempts Zoink would take for this level, easily 150 to 180,000 attempts. Well, with this entry out the way, we can move to our next entry, and our next entry is Silent Acropolis. This level has tons of history. The level was originally made by Dan Master 007 and was previewed by Mr. Devil Vortex Saws, Tosh Deluxe. This level is genuinely brutal to the point where I don't know if the level is possible in its unnerved state. This level existed around during the time when Silent Circles was popular, and when adding silent to your name genuinely meant brutal difficulty instead of just being a meme. The level is obviously based upon the level Acropolis by Zobros, and is just an impossible version of the level. However, this version is the redecoed version by the Purgatory. This level is obviously one of the greatest levels I've ever seen. It honestly takes the idea of an Acropolis, a dead city, and make it perfectly. From the attention to details to the spiders and spiderwebs and skulls, it actually looks like a haunted mansion, and there's not really anything else I can say other than the fact that this level looks flawless. And if I were to give an estimate on how many attempts it would take Zoink to beat, I'd give it around 150 to 160,000 attempts. Shout out to the Purgatory team, and let's move on to our next entry. Our next entry is a bit of a weird one. This entry is Heliopolis. Heliopolis is a top 1 that's hosted by Mindcap. Originally, the level was supposed to be verified on 60Hz, but was discontinued. The level is currently being verified by Pablo, he has 27. But if you don't know what Heliopolis is a timing-based extreme demon. It's definitely inspired by Acropolis, but its difficulty is on max. If I were to give an estimate to how many attempts it would take Zoink to beat, I'd say around 90,000 to 130,000 attempts. Again, not much I can say for this level, so let's move on to the next entry. Our next entry is Unnerved Silent Clubstep. This level legitimately makes me question Geometry Dash difficulty. It makes me question what is possible and what is not. Parker has 20% on this level. This run by itself should be considered an extreme demon, and just like Eternal Night, this level deserves no introduction. This level is by far one of the most infamous levels in all of Geometry Dash history. Now, how many attempts would I think Zoink would take with this level? I would say around 90,000 attempts, considering he already beat Pacquiao's version of Silent Clubstep, which took him 22,000 attempts. With that being said, let's move on to our next entry. Now, with these next 3 entries, it's gonna seem like I'm pushing it a little bit, but this is really my point. If you told someone 3 years ago that Firework would be top 10, they wouldn't believe me. But the next entry is gonna be Annoyed Machine. Annoyed Machine is essentially a hard machine inspired impossible level. I say impossible because it's really aimed for top 1, but it's genuinely a brutal experience. Not really much I can say for the level other than the fact that it's extremely hard. And if I were to give an estimate on how many attempts it would take Zoink, I would say around 100 to 150,000 attempts. Well, with that being said, let's move on to our next entry. Our next entry is Lament. Lament is really a layout that's 4 minutes long by Bossman, and when it tells you it is top 1, it means it. Just look at this gameplay. I literally only see Zoink playing this level and being able to do any types of runs on this level. This level, I could say in confidence, could actually be a genuine challenge to Zoink. Again, not really much I can say for this level, and only really one part has been decorated. So if I was to get an estimate on how many attempts this would take, I would say this would take around 100 to 150,000 attempts. And with that out the way, let's get to our last entry. Our last entry is Unnamed 666. Now you might be looking at me like, you're crazy, this is an impossible level. But 2 things here. 1, Zoink is an extremely skilled player. And then number 2, the idea of impossible has meant incredibly different things depending on Geometry Dash history we're in. Silent Funk used to be seen as impossible until Geometry Josh verified it. In fact, there's many former impossible levels that were verified. Thinking Space, Abyss of Darkness, Cataclysm, Ice Carbon Diablo X, Death Corridor, Tartarus, Arcturus, etc. But does this mean that Unnamed 666 will be verified within any means times? No, of course not. Unnamed 666 has literally so many frame perfects it's not funny. But again, this raises the question, how many attempts does Zoink need to verify this one level? If I were to make an estimate, I would say around 300,000 attempts, simply because Unnamed 666 is not worth it. When I say it's not worth it, I mean it's going to get verified in its nerfed state, as I see no human just having the mental capacity to even beat this level. However, I feel like in the future, there's gonna be difficulty at an extreme rate, and maybe, just maybe, one day, someone will be the verifier of unnamed 666. Now this video is long within itself. I already wanted to have a few honorable mentions. These honorable mentions are Dystopia, Riot's Demise, Anathema, Silent Unknown, and Banshee. I really wanted to talk about these levels, however I just didn't have enough time to. So a link to them will be in the description below. I really hope you guys enjoyed my first documentary video, and I plan to make more in the future. So if you want to see more of these videos, hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell to be notified when I drop my new video. I'm TJ Lizard, I'm out for the day.